Good day, good folks. You are listening to Talk That Keeps You Woke. And with your awakening, we hope that you will take in the information and knowledge we provide. So make sure you like and subscribe while you hop on this ride as we inform, persuade, entertain, and engage in discussion. Welcome to Pot Liquor Podcast, which is knowledge to feed your soul. I make up one half of Pot Liquor. I go by Dr. A, the inquisitive one. A great debater, Mr. Slow Talker, a rhetorician, and an all-around nice guy, and a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. The other half of Pot Liquor is my homie, my dear friend for more than 30 years, Kim Parker Jackson Esquire, the legal one, Mrs. Creativity, never obnoxious, the gifted one, a terrific lady, and a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Okay, folks, we are back again. Partner, what's up? How was your week?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. I am well, Dr. A, and I had a good week. A lot went on this week, but in my life, I had a family get-together, which was really nice. That happened on Saturday. We finally got together after COVID, so it was good seeing, the immediate family. And on Sunday, I did a therapeutic self-care dance workshop. So that was good. Very, rejuvenating. How was your week?
My week was good. House full of folks, but it's all family, so it's all good. Got to hear more about your dance workshop. But welcome to Pot Liquor Podcast. And as always, we start our show off with a wow. Stands for words of wisdom. Never look down on anybody unless you're helping him up. That comes from Jesse Jackson. Jesse's been around a long time, and basically it says instead of talking about somebody that's down and out, help them out. That's what I get. Like, we like to talk like, why she do this? Why she do that? Why he did this? This is a type of situation. And we talking a lot about what they're going through, and we don't bother to step in and help out. That's what I take from it. What about yourself?
Yes, I concur. I agree wholeheartedly. And, I'm just surprised that this quote from Jesse Jackson did not rhyme. But other than that, I definitely agree with it. I think it's a really good reminder that we should stay in touch with our humanity and just treat each other with kindness and love at all times, but especially when we're going through a tough time in life, which we all will eventually go through.
Yes. So, as our grandmas probably all said to us, if you don't have something pleasant to say about somebody, then don't say anything at all. But I say always reach down, help somebody out. You never know when you're going to be in a position of need. So, like the Neville brothers used to sing, lean on me. I just think that we should take heed to that advice.
Indeed.
And let us move on.
All right. Before we get into our what's going on, we are going to get into our first product today. And our first product is something that we definitely use, and you're hearing something on it right now. For those out there who just listening, I just hold up the box of our M audio speakers that I use on my side. They are black speakers, 13-inch. You can get them at the Guitar Center. I believe Best Buy has them. So those are the speakers that we use that allows you to hear us. M audio speakers.
Let us move on.
Okay, we have a lot going on this week. We had a couple of firings, and we are going to jump right into that. First up, person that got let go, Tucker Carlson got let go from Fox. What do you say about Carlson?
Well, I do not feel sorry for Tucker Carlson at all. I mean, with his $20 to $35 million contract, depending on what source you're looking at, it's surprising that he was let go just because he was so popular. And I mean, he had 3 million viewers and apparently the most popular host on Fox News. And after 7 years of hosting Tucker Carlson Tonight on Fox News, he was let go. So, I mean, I really don't have a dog in this fight because I didn't watch his show. I don't watch Fox News. I mean, if I try to watch Fox News for 20 seconds, I just get so frustrated because some of the things they say are just completely ridiculous, illogical, don't make sense at all. So, again, I don't watch. So this is, I really don't care that he was fired. And then there's a lot of speculation as to, a lot of various theories as to why he was let go, whether it was the election fraud lies that were told, whether it was his spinning on the insurrection, calling it a peaceful protest and things of that nature. But I think really the bottom line, after Fox had to pay this $787.5 million settlement to Dominion Voting Systems, I think that had a lot to do with it because one thing corporations care about is the bottom line. Some people are saying that even that, though, is not the reason why he was let go. They're saying it was because he gave up like the game on Big Pharma and Big Pharma advertising on these news stations. And how because of the advertising dollars that Big Pharma puts into these news shows, the corporations don't tell you whether or not these medications or what have you are safe or not because they're getting this money. And so word on the street is that is the real reason why he was let go. Bottom line, it really doesn't matter. To me, the moral of the story is no one person is bigger than corporate America, regardless of how popular you may be. When you start to challenge corporate America, everybody is, what's the word? Dispensable? Disposable. All of the above. They can, expendable. There's another one. They will let you go. So
yeah, Carlson was known to espouse racial rhetoric and xenophobic rhetoric. So I have the same sentiment that you have. I'm not disappointed or upset that he's gone. People who talk that way to trigger people to do vile and crazy things, I'm not a proponent of theirs. But I do agree with you. I think the law school suit with the $787.5 million had a lot to do with it because that's a nice piece of profit that they had to let go. Although he was bringing in a lot of money for the station. And so, that had to be huge for them to let him go because he was kind of a cash cow. Not kind of. He was a cash cow for Fox News.
I wonder if they can, do you know whether they can write off that?
I'm not that savvy when it comes to the inner workings of corporate America. But if there's a way they can, they will. Also, I can say I watch Fox once in a while. Sometimes you need to hear the other side and what they have said. And so sometimes if it's something controversial was said, I go back and try to listen to him and his show to see how he asked a question or answered something. Um, I think the audience in America, like we're all guilty of this. Not all of us are guilty. Viewers are guilty. Let me say that. Those who watch the show and give the high ratings, but the fact that they lied about the election and they knew they were lying, Murdoch knew that folks on his show was lying. That just lets me know like Fox is a sham, and pure journalists journalism has lost its way. It's more so infotainment today, and we will go to the levels of even casting someone out someone out in front of the television set to spew these lies and really not care because you want to keep your viewers believing um, these big lies. So I guess the best thing to say with him is good riddance.
Goodbye, good riddance.
Yeah, I think.
Don't cry for me, Argentina, though, because I'm sure they gave him a golden parachute.
Maybe.
And let us move on.
All right. So we move from one station to another. Right. Who says there's not equal opportunity employment? CNN had to let Don Lemon go. And I'm going to let you start off on this too, Bart.
Well, yes, after 17 years with CNN, he was, I think it's interesting. He was fired on the same day that Tucker Carlson was fired. I don't know if that means anything or not. I just thought that was interesting. And also the difference in salary is interesting because he was making $10 million as opposed to Tucker's 20 or 35 million and a $2 million bonus. But yeah, let go after 17 years. And then again, a lot of speculation as to why. Was it because of the comments that he made about women being past their prime when they're in their 50s? According to Don Lemon, and well, he says you can Google it, but according to Don Lemon, women are in their prime when they're in their 20s and 30s and maybe 40s, he said. And this all, stems from a conversation that he was having about Nikki Haley, who said that President Biden was past his prime. And so he made these comments about women in general, even though, and I think the problem is he just didn't read the room because the show that he was on, I think is CNN This Morning with two other women. You might not want to make disparaging comments about women when two women are your co-hosts. But anyway, so that's what he said. And so people are speculating that's why. But I think it could be because he, although maybe CNN is popular with a lot of people, his show wasn't that popular because he had about 600 and maybe 88,000 viewers for his show, which when you compare that to Tucker Carlson's 3 million, it's relatively a lot fewer, far fewer viewers. And so maybe that contributed to it. And this misstep that he made with the comments about women was just a perfect excuse for them to let him go. Because I mean, it does make you wonder after 17 years, like what the problem is. And he thought that he should have been given a lot more respect. He just felt like maybe a meeting, maybe telling, a meeting to talk about it first instead of being blindsided. But they, CNN says that they did offer him an opportunity, but he didn't take it. Instead, he made comments on Twitter that, hey, what's the deal? Why am I being disrespected after 17 years? But again, the moral of the story for me is that one person is not going to be an institution or a corporation. So, regardless of how popular, how good at your job you might be, at any moment, you can be let go. What do you think?
Well, I think the popularity from Tucker and Don Lemon has a lot to do with them leaving. Because if you're small and you say that, I don't think you'll get. Say, for instance, you're on CNN at a different time slot, like 2 a.m. in the morning. You might not necessarily be let go because you're not a name. You, you might not draw that much attention. I was first thinking that why did they let Don Lemon go? Was this infraction that he did? Was it large enough to let him go? And I would have to say yes, because when people make racial marks or racist comments, they're often let go, um, particularly if they're white. So they get a lot of pushback from that. So if you're saying something that is sexist, you have to put that in the same boat. If you disparage a woman and say comments, you might not think they're not incendiary. You might think like, well, it didn't offend me as much as, but it offended a lot of people. So I can see that as a reason to be dismissed. You can't just say sexist comments. You just can't say, ethnic or racial comments, disabled comments. You can't say things like that and expect to keep your employment.
Especially not these days with cancel culture. I mean, but you and I can attest now that we have been doing this podcast, but when you have a show that's not scripted, you can very easily say something that you don't mean. Although the problem here is that Don Lemon doubled down on it when the women called him out and gave him a little pushback. He doubled down and was like, well, wait, you can Google it. So that didn't help him.
He didn't think he was saying anything offensive.
Well, that's what makes it worse.
Yeah.
It's like saying something racist and you don't realize it's racist. That just shows how racist you are. Like it's embedded in your soul and it comes out. Out of the abundance of the heart.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think he's more sexist because he said that. I mean, I didn't recognize what he was saying is wrong. I just think people have to brush up on things that hurt and offend other groups. If you're indoctrinated to speak a certain way, like, because there are racial things said without using, racial words. There's treatment that's based on race. And sometimes, because I'm in the classroom with students who are young, and I don't like to use the word ignorant a lot because it has a negative connotation. It's just like them not knowing. I understand that first because you have to check people's frame of reference. Now, this doesn't go for Lemon and Carlson. I'm just saying. I think Don Lemon got caught in a situation. Maybe he thought he was that powerful that he could double down. But it seems to me that he really didn't think what he was saying was offensive because he's like, these are facts that I'm quoting. Now, I think he should have said that first, but then you're such an opinionated show, you would have to say, do you agree with those facts or not?
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that he's gay? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so, but
I don't think that had anything to do with it. He because they even said it in the articles. He came out a long time ago. So if that was the case, they would have fired him a long time
I
ago.
guess, but I'm talking about like maybe he thought he would get a pass, and he could say it's kind of like maybe if a woman had made the statements, it would have been, um, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe if you look at it from that perspective, maybe.
Never know.
Let us move on.
All right. Supreme Court Judge Clarence Thomas is back on our podcast as a topic pertaining to yes.
What was that?
Pertaining to some other, well, a similar situation that he got in. He didn't recuse himself from the 2004 appeals case. Go ahead.
Right. I mean, I was going to say, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so because remember the last time when this came up, him receiving these luxurious gifts from this GOP mega donor, this wealthy billionaire, Harlan Crow. I said that it was unethical and that, it erodes the public trust in our institutions. How can we have faith that that the Supreme Court is going to be unbiased and uninfluenced by, people outside the court? How can we believe in that if he's accepting these luxurious gifts from this GOP mega donor? And now it's come back to bite him in the behind. And what I suspected appears to be coming true. And that is that he was, in fact, perhaps influenced by this GOP mega donor, Harlan Crow. And so I say, surprise, surprise. I mean, just as we thought, because this 2005 case, that was a copyright infringement case against the Trammell Crow Residential Corporation, which is a company that Harlan Crow has an interest in, although it's a minority interest. He does have an interest in this company. And so basically what happened in 2005 is the Supreme Court decided not to grant cert or certiorari, which is basically just a fancy word for they decided not to hear the case. And the bottom line of what that means is that basically they agree with what the lower court did here, which at the end of the day, the decision was in favor of this corporation that Harlan Crow has an interest in. So tell me, why didn't Clarence Thomas recuse himself from this case? So to me, it's just more impropriety, more of him, it's just more unethical behavior from Justice Thomas. And I think he should just be ashamed of himself because of this. And what's that?
I'm saying I'm not an expert on the court system. I think if I'm Clarence Thomas, I would have recused myself.
You would think.
But here's a question. The lower court denied it, but it got sent to the Supreme Court. The biggest thing I don't like about the friendship is that I think Justice Clarence Thomas sold his house to Harlan Crow and didn't disclose the sale. So I don't know if they disclose. If you don't disclose the sale, you're also not disclosing the sale amount.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
The lavish gifts that come way afterwards. I mean, that come after that. I think it could be the fact that he's just a friend that they made that decision.
Hold on, Doc.
And since, he became a friend, if you're a wealthy billionaire, you're like, here, friend, thanks.
Hold on, Doc. You about to twist yourself into a pretzel.
No, I started off.
To defend Clarence Thomas.
I didn't. I said if I was Clarence Thomas, I would have recused myself because you already, recuse yourself from the case. Then all the lavish gifts you get are fine because you like, I ain't on the case.
Mm,
Didn't do it.
no, but see, that's the
That's
thing.
the issue.
It's not fine because
If you
it
recuse
has
yourself from
the
the case,
appearance.
you can't
This is what
decide.
I'm saying. It could be legal, and there could be nothing legally wrong with what he's doing. But my point is that there is an appearance of impropriety, and nobody is required to be a Supreme Court justice. You have voluntarily
You're going to
agreed to do
you're
this,
going to deny
so
you're going to
there's
deny
some
what
things you're going to have to give up,
okay, let me go back to
and
this
among
real quick.
them are luxurious gifts
Let,
from
let,
GM.
let, let me get let me get a word in edgewise. This is
Okay,
what
go.
you do. You are going to deny what I say and defend what I say at the same time. You're like, you say you twisting yourself in the pretzel. No, I think he should have recused himself. That's what I said. If he would have recused himself from the case, nobody would have been talking about these gifts that he's getting because he always can say, well, I took myself off the case.
But Doc, you suggested that if he had recused himself, then he would have been fine receiving the gifts. And I'm just saying, no, he would not have. It's not appropriate for a Supreme Court justice who's a public servant to be accepting these types of gifts. It's not appropriate. It's
See,
inappropriate.
I
It
disagree with
has the
you.
appearance of
It
impropriety.
only
Just
has
like I said,
it only has the appearance of propriety if he is
impropriety.
making impropriety. Sorry, it only has the appearance of impropriety if he is making a decision on the case.
I disagree.
So you're my good friend. Any case that comes before the court that's involving you, I take myself off the case. Now you might say, well, he can influence the other judges because he has a friendship, blah blah blah. Yeah, maybe he can. But that means that you, being my friend, are not allowed to give me gifts. Like when you get in that position and you climb that ladder, you're gonna meet people and build friendships with people that will soon be billionaires. I'm just saying, recuse yourself. Say, hey, I can't decide any of your cases. I have to take myself off. To me, there's no appearance of impropriety if he
Okay,
does that.
well, that's the
Did, but the fact that he didn't do that, that is a problem. Yes, I agree with you on that. So what I'm saying to you, Clarence, if he's just a good friend, your just good friend should understand why you have to recuse yourself from the case. Now, if he stopped giving you gifts, then he ain't really your good friend. He buying your friendship. Your friendship costs.
Well, I think Clarence Thomas knew this was shady. He knew this was not right, and that's why he didn't disclose it. Because if it's harmless, why not just disclose it? Like I said, I'm a lowly public servant, federal employee. We even have requirements as to what we can receive as gifts. So, and their defense is okay. This is what they said at the time of this case. Trammell Crow Residential operated completely independently of Crow Holdings, with a separate management team and its own independent operations. Because they're saying Harlan Crow, he ran the other company, and these companies ran independently. And to me, that's saying trying to have a defense without really saying anything. It's not. That doesn't mean anything. So what? The companies were separate. That doesn't mean, like I said, he had a minority interest in the company. So at the end of the day, that means more money in your pocket. So that's not a defense. Then they said neither Harlan Crow nor Crow Holdings had knowledge of or involvement in this case. And a search of Crow Holdings legal records reveals no involvement in this case. Harlan Crow has never discussed this or any other case with any justice. So what? To me, you don't have to discuss it, because if you're throwing around this kind of money and these kind of lavish and luxurious gifts, there's no discussion that needs to be had. It's understood. Like, dude, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. So I think it's understood. You don't have to have a conversation. So to me, no defense. I don't see any defense here. So I think, and again, what's most disturbing is technically Justice Thomas has not broken the law or violated any code of ethics because unfortunately none exists. So, hello, Congress or whoever has to come together and fix this problem. We need a code of ethics for the Supreme Court. This is ridiculous. Like we're losing confidence in our institutions. This is not good.
I'm not upset with what you're saying at all. I happen to agree with you on
All
this.
right.
I think that um, he should have recused himself. But now, like, what's the penalty? How do we get to that? How do we make policies saying like stuff like this can't go on?
Like I said, Congress needs to figure it out because I mean the Supreme Court is established by the Constitution. So I don't know if this needs to be a constitutional amendment. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but Congress needs to figure it out and make sure that it happens because I don't. This is just not a good thing. And this is how the rich and powerful operate. They have enough money to influence the levers of our society, and this is how they do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if more information comes out about other things that Clarence Thomas has not recused himself from when he should have, other things that he should have disclosed that he didn't disclose when he should have. I mean, and his wife got $500,000 from this guy, so it's just not good.
And let us move on.
All right. Those of y'all who are familiar with this little song will understand why we chose this. Moving into Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. Let's call them a couple of rich brothers right now. As they do receive handsome contracts from their respective NFL teams.
Yes, I was happy to see that Lamar Jackson finally signed his deal with the Ravens.
So Jalen Hurts, I'm sorry, it's Hurts. Jalen Hurts went first, and he signed a $250 million deal. I believe with 179 million guaranteed, and then Lamar the following week signs a $260 million deal. With $185 million guaranteed. Guaranteed means you make the money regardless, that amount of money they owe you regardless of your status as far as with the team. If you are injured and can't play for 2 years because your leg is broke, you still receive that money. And playing football, which your career can end on any play, it's important for players to get a certain amount of their contract guaranteed. Now, Deshaun Watson of the Cleveland Browns, he received 36 million? 236 million fully guaranteed. So every dime of that contract he gets, and owners were upset that the Cleveland Browns gave him that contract because they don't want fully guaranteed contracts in the NFL.
Of course they don't.
Okay.
Oh. Well, I mean, this is just good all the way around for me because, I'm a Maryland resident, so I'm definitely a Baltimore Ravens fan. Even though I'm from DC, I'm also a Commanders fan. Not a huge NFL person, but anytime a brother is getting this kind of money, I'm happy about it. Happy about it indeed. And this is really a drop in the bucket compared to what these billionaire NFL owners receive. So more power to them. I'm happy to see it. And I'm also happy to see that Lamar Jackson has demonstrated that when you're a player of this caliber, do you really? I don't know if you really need an agent. Apparently, all you need is a loving mother. So again, and Jalen Hurts the same thing. Another amazing Black woman behind him getting this kind of deal, which I think is great. So I actually might become more of an NFL fan because of this. And I also saw, they had the NFL draft this week, and another group of Black quarterbacks was drafted. Is that correct?
Yeah. So out of the top 4 picks, there were 3 Black QBs. At one, Bryce Young from Alabama. He went to the Carolina Panthers. Number 2 was E.J. Stroud from Ohio State. He went to the Texans. Number 3 wasn't a quarterback. He's a lineman from Alabama, considered one of the best players. He went to the Texans, and then Anthony Richardson from Florida, a Black quarterback, went to the Indianapolis Colts. So yeah, there were some picks. Detroit Lions later on in the 3rd round got Hendon Hooker from University of Tennessee. He was on his way becoming the Heisman Trophy winner, but I think that he broke his leg or he tore his ACL in a football game, so he had to sit out the rest of the season. But yeah, there are at least 4 quarterbacks that I think 5 Black quarterbacks picked in this draft this year. So yeah, the game is changing. They want more mobility at the quarterback position because these defensive players are getting faster and faster at amazing weights. And even if you're a non-Black quarterback, because the stereotypes about quarterback is, they really didn't have the intellectual efficacy to play the position. They weren't bright enough or whatever to read plays. That was the stereotype. Was a bunch of trash. So they will always call them mobile quarterbacks, not traditional quarterbacks. Now, even if you're quote unquote a traditional quarterback, you have to know how to move in the pocket, because standing still and stationary is not always the best place to be in the NFL today. So hats off to these 2 young Black men. Hats off to the women behind them that did an excellent job with both of them. And it's a new day. It's definitely a new day.
All we need is a couple of Black NFL owners, and I'll be happy.
And let us move on.
And I can be one of them.
All right. All right, so our second plug of the day is called Nan Light. And this is something that is lighting me right now.
And you look good, brother.
Right here. It's a square. It brings light down on me.
And I can see your chocolatey complexion very well.
I appreciate that. But yeah, today we're kind of showcasing our equipment that we use to help us record this podcast and try to perfect it to the best of our ability. So Nan Light, you can pick that up at any camera store. It's not that expensive. I think this costs $125. Yeah, check it out. If you're putting together a podcast, it's a great place to start.
And let us move on.
We have a question. It's a question. Address the question. This is a question. So what's the question? Answer the question. Okay, so this is our question of the week, as we always do. And the question this week is: you spot a boat full of people, but there isn't a single person on board. How is that possible? I'll repeat it. You spot a full of people, but there isn't a single person on board. How is that possible? Remember to make sure that you email us at potliquorshow@gmail.com. Last week, our question was, how can a girl go 25 days without sleep? And the answer is, do you remember the answer?
Yes, sleep at night.
Sleep at night. A lot of people thought that was silly. I thought that was a good question. It was funny to me. So yes. So this week the question is: you spot a boat full of people, but there isn't a single person on board. How is that possible? All right.
Well, all right.
Question of the week. Let me just put it up there real quick and remove it. All right.
Good luck.
And let us move on.
All right. So we have a special guest with us today. Yeah.
Hey.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, gorgeous. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Very nice to
I'll let my
Oh.
partner bring in her hellos as I'm trying to introduce.
Okay, go.
Yes. All right.
I'm just excited to see her. No.
Cara Crayer.
Cara.
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 Cara Crayer.
Yes, that's me.
Okay. Yes.
I love your background, that picture. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a
welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Wait,
Thank you for
who's
having
the
me.
artist?
The artist is a artist from South Carolina, from the Geechee country, Green, and he does a lot of depictions of Black art.
I love that.
Thank you.
Do you have a name for us? What's the artist name?
You can Artist Green, Greene, and he's out of South Carolina.
Okay, his first name is Artist. All right, got you on that one.
Oh, you found it already?
What'd you say?
You found it already?
You talking about me?
Yeah.
No, I got confused because she said Artist as the first name, and I thought it was. She was talking about the artist.
I'm sorry. I thought you said his first name is Jonathan.
Jonathan. Okay.
Oh, see, I thought his first name was Artist too. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna let my partner start off on these questions.
Welcome to Pot Liquor Podcast, and today we have with us Cara Crayer, and we will let her introduce herself to our listeners.
Okay. Well, this is my first time doing a podcast, and Kim wouldn't let me keep my camera off. So, I have to.
We want to see your beautiful face and that gorgeous smile.
Oh, thank you. But it's a Monday morning, Monday afternoon, I should say. My name is Cara Crayer. I am an attorney in the federal government.
Cut off on the phone.
Can you hear me?
What happened, Dr. A?
I think your phone is giving us feedback. Is that a phone you have, or is it your?
I have a phone. Can you?
Yeah. Are you hearing us through your phone?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead then.
Yeah, she sounds fine to me.
Okay. Is this better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I have I have another device open as well. Let me shut this off. I am originally from Massachusetts, and I've been in Washington, D.C. area for the last 25 plus years. Mm-hmm. Went to law school here in Washington, and I'm an attorney doing telecommunications work. And I've also been an adjunct professor at a local law school here in Washington. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So Today, although you're qualified to talk about many different things, and perhaps we will have you back to discuss some other things, but today we wanted to focus on work-life balance. And so first, I wanted to hear from you what roles you play in your life besides being a full-time attorney. What else do you do during your day? You're a wife, a mother. What other roles do you have?
Well, I feel like I play every role there is. Okay. So every role there is, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter. And in terms of work-life balance, I mean, nothing is balanced really well. So, there's a lot of things in the air, and I don't feel like anything is going particularly well at any one time, but, we push through and get it done. And, and that's life, right? So.
Right. And are you a member of any organizations as well?
I am. I'm a member of Jack and Jill of America and the Council on Foreign Relations and some other organizations and on boards for schools. A school up in Boston called the Windsor School. And I just recently got off a board here called the River School. So it's been wonderful, like a nice, rich, full life full of things to do.
So that means lots of board meetings as well, unfortunately.
Board meetings and yes, active kids and the whole 9 yards, and also parents who are aging. So I'm in between what they call the sandwich age, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
I have older parents, and then I have relatively young kids, so I have to go back and forth and do a few things. So life is full.
So tell us, describe a typical day for you. Like, what time do you get up? And then, what are all of the things that you have to sort of juggle during your day?
Oh, Kim, you didn't know I have someone to make me breakfast every morning? A driver. A typical day is, during the work week, that it can be, there's some consistencies, and then there's a lot of inconsistencies. You don't know what you're going to get for the day and what kind of surprise you get for that week. But a typical day, up at 6 o'clock in the morning, getting to school, getting kids out to school, and then signing on to get on to see what your surprise you get at work, and then ending the day after work with typical things: dinner and baseball practice, and my daughter's a squash player, so squash and things like that. So all of those things are packed into the week, and then by the end of the Friday comes, it's it's just kind of relax and try to unwind for the weekend.
So what would you say are your biggest stressors?
I think the biggest stressor actually it has nothing to do with the daily grind. I think the biggest stressors for me in life right now is just trying to organize the things that are coming, and responding to. Everyone has ups and they have downs, and it's responding to the downs in a very efficient, quick way and responsible way. So kind of decision making. I think that's the biggest stressor, is making sure that the right decisions are being made now so that later they don't pile up.
Wow. And so you are married. And so what would you say your husband's role is in all of this? Because in a lot of relationships, a lot of the burden of the daily grind falls on women, for whatever reason. I think women are very fortunate, and it's rare when they can sort of share this burden with their partners. So for you, are you able to get any assistance with these sort of daily chores from your husband, or does he play a different role in your family?
No, I think that's a interesting. I think it's a fair question. I think that every family is built differently. I have a husband that's extremely busy, teaches in Boston once a week, and is in a private equity firm. So there's his travel schedules may be different, but every family is different in terms of how it's set up, to run. And a lot of burden, just in general, I will tell you, with myself and my friends, falls on the woman of the house,
Mm-hmm.
and that the daily organization and organizing the schedule tends to fall on the women as well. And so it can make some things easier, and some things, sometimes it's easier to do things, and just you go at it alone, and some things it's, much more difficult, and you need a second hand. I
Yeah.
think it's about the support and the help that you have, and that can come in a lot of different forms.
Yeah.
And it's not just an extra driver of the house, or someone who's doing the laundry. There are a lot of different ways to find support, and some of my friends, and myself included, have parents or siblings that do step in, but when needed to. And we it's a patchwork, right? So we have
Right.
to put it together in whatever way we can to make it successful.
So here's the sort of bottom line question of the hour. What strategies have you sort of developed to create this work-life balance that you have?
Oh,
What would
well,
you say besides
nothing has been done well, Kim. I mean, you know, strategies is just like kind of a hope and a prayer with some days, and then some days it's gone really well, and some years it's gone really well, and some years it hasn't been. So I think the biggest thing has been for me, the largest strategy has been to be grateful for what I have in the present.
Amen.
And so, it's every day is a different day. Every year is a different year when it comes to, social or economic or academic. Everything is different. So just being grateful for, each day, and the schedule that I have, and the resources that I have, and trying to, and trying to traverse through life that way.
I
Um,
love that. I love that perspective.
thank
But
you.
the other thing is that a lot of times as women, when we are as busy as you are, we come last. I mean, it's hard to sort of prioritize your own self-care and just doing things like you said on Friday where you can sort of unwind. So what have you found works for you in terms of your own self-care?
I mean, I think that really, honestly, people are so rich, and so to have really, really good friends, and really solid family, and solid relationships, honestly, that is self-care in itself. So talking to people has been, is something for me that creates a different type of self-care. Sure, it's nice to go and, have a beautiful bottle of Cabernet and a massage, and those are really great things too, but that is not necessarily self-care. The self-care for me comes with talking to people, and maintaining my relationships, my friendships, and again, there it is. It's like, gratitude, spending time. The best time that, I really feel like I'm unwinding is on a Friday, and, going to someone's house and talking to them, and just, really hanging out and keeping it pretty low key. So that to me is self-care. And I learn a lot. So I think for like that constant learning, has also been self-care, because I'm learning about everything. I'm learning about, certain hurdles that I'm facing. I'm learning about certain hurdles that I see other people around me facing. And, and that learning, that constant learning has also created an environment where it keeps a balance for me, of importance, because sometimes you have to one thing that you might think is a priority really is not that much of a priority. And when you learn and you keep pushing yourself, that is for me the ultimate self-care.
And I'm sure when you're with your friends, there's a lot of laughter, right?
Yeah, it depends on who they are. It depends on whether they make you get on the podcast with a video. Yeah. Yes, there is a lot of laughter. I mean, there's a lot of good things. I mean, we're in an age group where there are very serious things happening around us. And so, yes, the laughter keeps things moving a little bit. It's the highest form of intelligence is comedy, right? So
Yes.
yes, so yeah, there's definitely laughter. And the kids, they bring very serious problems, and serious laughter goes along with that too. So
And so tell us about your kids.
Well, I have a 15-year-old girl, and she has no opinion at all, let me tell you. And then I have a 10-year-old boy, and he doesn't want to play any sports, let me tell you. So, I mean, look, I'm being pulled in a lot of directions. They're wonderful kids. They're beautiful kids, extremely bright and smart. And, I feel like so lucky to see them, kind of like move through life and see what they're going to give later on, and to the world. So I'm excited to see
And what are their names?
Kate and Rose and Grayer.
Oh,
yeah.
I have a baseball player too.
I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. So yeah, they are. They're doing very well. They're doing very well. And then my parents, who are in north of Boston, they are doing well too. They are Howard graduates, and they just celebrated 52 years of marriage.
And, awesome.
I know.
That's beautiful.
So, and I will say this to the question that you asked earlier. My dad would love that question because he was a divorce attorney for many, many years. So that's all I'm going to say. There's a hint to your followers.
Okay.
He would love to get on that boat full of all the people. So I think I got it figured out.
Yeah, I think she knows the answer. Okay.
Yeah.
She just gave you guys, whoever's listening, she just gave you a big hint.
A big hint.
So you often hear when women enter the workforce that it's harder for them because sometimes they have to make a choice between their careers and being a parent or a mother. I know several women that decided they're not going to have a family because they wanted to propel themselves up the ladder in corporate America, and they didn't want to have particularly a family, period. Like, not even like some of them not get married, so they could just do what they want to do and not have kids. Some of them got married and still said like children were out of the question. Because I do agree with Kim, the everyday responsibility of the child somehow falls on the mother. But I would tell my friends who are mothers, sit down weekly. And I'm not saying run your marriage like a corporation, but I think you need to have weekly spousal meetings, right? Where you lay out the schedule, what is going to be done as far as with the kids and the different responsibilities that each one of you have, because I don't think it should be thrown on one person's shoulder. Now, if you marry somebody who's going to have a busy and hectic life, but they're going to generate a large amount of revenue, I think that revenue can help with help, like having another person in. Like, some people are fortunate enough to have nannies in them, because I do believe the more the merrier if they're all good people, so to speak. So those are things like seldom I hear folks talking about, and I have to calm my fellow brothers down and say, look, your wife is doing everything. All you doing is working. And I said, you discount the work that she does for the kids, because that's probably harder than the work she's doing at work. She's probably gets relief for that. So how do you feel about folks balancing that out? How do you feel about women trying to make that decision between career and being a parent?
I think that's a question I think that's an age-old question, and I think that it is. I have many feelings on it, but what I will say is this: you know, you have to make choices that are personal, and to yourself and to your family and what you do, and you have to follow your gut with a lot and intuition, and your ability. And I will say that housework equates to money. So for every hour that you're doing the laundry or every hour that you're picking up the kids, I mean it's an hourly rate, and that is something that has been dismissed. Obviously, I also think that the take yourself out of the workplace in order to have children either, or not have children. I feel like these are personal decisions, and not everyone has the ability to do both, and some people have the ability to do much more, for whatever reason. It could be family structure, it can be where they're living, it can be. And I'm all for like the hands on deck, all hands on deck, just like you said. If you have the babysitter, or you have it, look, so there are some spouses that have flexibility in their schedules. Maybe they go to work later, or maybe there's so many variables to this. I just think not to discount when someone is home and they're doing a lot of the work. That is a career as well, and that is something that is not recognized. There's no 401k for someone who's doing all the work at home, and the laundry and the cooking and the cleaning and everything else, the executive function of this, right? So for those who have decided not to have children based on that, it's a personal decision. And I respect that. Again, I really lead with like gratitude of like what you have and what you're working with, and kind of moving forward through life that way. And look, it for every person that's going and doing a load of laundry, let me tell you, that costs money. Okay, because it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of and the clean, every single thing, you can probably put a cost to it.
Yeah. So that means those of us who do all of the above, full-time employment plus housework and everything that comes with that, that means we have two careers. So I mean, we're really doing the two jobs.
Yeah. And nothing, I will say, nothing good lasts forever and nothing bad lasts forever. So I do remember when the kids were really young, and I really felt like running a marathon and the exhaustion. And then, there are other things now. I feel like it's the burden has been lifted a lot.
Yeah. And before you know it, they'll be off to college, and then we'll be empty nesters, and we'll have more time to ourselves then.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We definitely need to have you back on again. We know you have to run and get out of here, but we appreciate you spending time on Pollica Podcast. And like I said, we hope to have you on again.
This is a wonderful show. Thank you both. I really enjoy it, and the music is the best.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Glad you liked it. All right.
See you next time.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
And let us move on.
Like this, keep on. Never say die, keep on. Like this, keep on. Never say die, keep on.
All right. So today, our little known Black history fact is about Jean-Baptiste Belly. Jean-Baptiste Belly was born on July 1, 1747 in Dakar, Senegal. At the age of 2 years old, he was sold into slavery and taken to the French colony of Saint-Domingue, which is modern-day Haiti. He later purchased his freedom, led troops in the Haitian Revolution, and was an outspoken abolitionist and political leader in France. At the National Convention in Paris, he instigated a successful vote to end slavery in the French Caribbean in 1794. Jean Baptiste Belly, our little known Black history fact.
All right.
No matter how hard reality seems, just hold on to your dreams, yeah. Long as you keep your head to the sky.
All right.
Let us move on.
What do you want to talk about next, Doc?
All right. Little technical difficulties there, but bear with us. Our next product is our podcast. And this week, that podcast is NPR's Code Switch. Those of you who don't know what Code Switch is, the podcast is about. It's the fearless conversation about race that you've been waiting for. Hosted by journalists of color, our podcast tackles the subject of race with empathy and humor. We explore how race affects every part of society, from politics and pop culture to history, food, and everything in between. The podcast makes all of us a part of the conversation because we're all part of the story. Code Switch was named Apple Podcast's first ever show of the year in 2020. All right, for those who can check out Code Switch on all the platforms.
Well, all right.
Let us move on. Let us move on.
Black, 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 black on black, black, yeah, hey, okay, black, 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 black on black, black, my thoughts so black, 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 I'm black, my skin is so black, I'm rocking that black on black is black, rims on these black wheels.
All right, so last week we covered Venus Williams, right? This week we're going to cover her sister. All right, this is her. She has
the GOAT,
right? Play to win. So this is a VC, and for those who don't know what that is, that's a venture capitalist. So Serena with her company, Play to Win, they invest in a lot of different startups, and she is worth $260 million, and she's hiring, so those who want to get into that should check out her company. And it's going fast. All right, for the record, 11% is Latino founders, 54% women founders,
that she's hired,
represented founders, 47% Black founders. It's health, sports, and wellness, different enterprises that she has. So she's involved with a lot. And, I know this is a Buy Black segment, but this is someone who invests in companies run by or entrepreneurs who are people of color. Not that she turns down others, but if you have a venture that you need more capital for, I think you should check out Serena's Ventures. She has a team, an amazing team, and they're doing well. So that's Serena's Ventures.
Nice.
And let us move on.
Oh, hell no. We usually say that twice. Oh, hell no. Okay, so this week, they're not up there right now, but this week we have a California principal calls black girls that was in his gated community ghetto and said, called the cops and says, we have 2 Section 8 people walking in this area. What say you about that?
Well, so to me, it just reminds us that people still have these attitudes where they look at all Black people as being, quote, whether it's here it's Section 8 and ghetto, but any other negative stereotype you can think of. These when we see these things happen, it just reminds us that although we have made progress in our society with regard to race relations, we still have a long way to go to sort of change people's minds and hearts about just people in general. No one should be stereotyped, or no one should be mischaracterized. We should all try to eradicate implicit bias from our minds and our hearts. And that's really the bottom line. So again, although we've made progress, we have to remember that we have a long way to go.
What's bothering me about this, again, we have a person who is in a leadership position that have these myths still tied inside of his head. He also has these stereotypes. How do you lead people that don't look like you if you have these type of feelings? If you still believe in these myths, these stereotypes that all Black people are this, or any people are this.
Right. Yeah. And so what I do like about this is because we live in a technological age, these young people, 2 17-year-old young ladies, were able to record this, what turned out to be a principal at a school. And I think that's what you're referring to. He turned out to be a principal at a school in Fresno, California. And it's unfortunate that he has a school full of young people that he has authority over and he has influence over. And these are the attitudes, that he has. And so I'm sure that it's going to come out at some point in school as well. You know what I mean? So that's what I agree with you. That's what's so unfortunate about this situation. Apparently, they were walking through a gated community where this principal lived, and he just wanted them out. And this was, a way of, I guess, insulting them and trying to get them to leave the community. But they were just trying to take a shortcut, on their way to the store. So, it's just unfortunate that at every turn we have to be subjected to these insults and to these microaggressions and this racism. And I mean, as a Black woman, it's just exhausting, because if it's not Angel Reese being insulted by some white guy, it's just, the regular girl walking down the street being insulted by a white guy. You know what I mean? And so y'all gonna stop disrespecting Black women and Black girls in this country.
Yeah, I would take it to the length and say Black people.
Yes.
But yeah.
And let us move on.
As always, we end our show on a happy note, and we want to give it up to Simone Biles, the great gymnast, and Jonathan Owens, the NFL football player. They tied the knot recently. So we are giving it up to them.
On
Owens, yeah.
On April, I was just going to say, on April 22nd, 2023, in an intimate courthouse ceremony in Houston, Texas. They tied the knot. And they're planning to have a destination wedding to follow, but they just wanted to tie the knot ahead of time in the United States. And as, Simone Biles made headlines recently she because of her wedding attire. The courthouse wedding, she just wore a dress that she got from Amazon. And people are making a big fuss about the fact that she disclosed that she paid $120 for the dress and she only paid $35 for her shoes. And I was like, this is a woman after my own heart, because I'm frugal Fanny. And she just showed us, I mean, if you look at the pictures, then you can still be fly and cute and beautiful, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. But I'm sure she's planning to spend a lot
She
of
also
money.
told us that none of that stuff really matters.
Exactly.
What matters is love of the heart for both people, love that they have for one another. He's wearing a plain suit, and I think they both look beautiful. You're just happy for the union of marriage. Yeah, I'm not dismissing anybody who wants to look super cute and buy a $2,000 dress. What you want, you should do. If is that going to make your day, is going to make you happy. But at the end, what goes on in the marriage, it's what counts. So some people are more into the wedding than into their relationship, and I think that has to change.
Well, that's true. But wait, there's more. So they are planning to have this destination wedding. And, Simone Biles is worth $16 million with all of her, Olympic accomplishments and her endorsements and everything. So she is planning to have a big wedding. And she said that she was going to have like maybe 3 or 4 different dresses. So, I'm sure she's going to splurge for that. And that's fine. I mean, she's shown us that you can do it both ways. But this is just sort of the pregame warm up, I guess.
And maybe they wanted to have a baby first. So we'll see what's going on with that. So we're going to wrap up this show right now. And we'll do that by getting our plugs. Plug 1, M Audio speakers. Plug 2, NAND Light. Plug 3, NPR code switch. The wow of the week, never look down on anybody unless you're helping him up. Jesse Jackson. What's going on? Tucker Carlson, fired. Don Lemon, fired. Clarence Thomas, unethical. Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, super rich. All right. Weekly question. You spot a boat full of people, but there isn't a single person on board. How is that possible? We had our weekly discussion, our interview with Cara Crayer. A little known Black history fact was Jean-Baptiste Belly. Our By Black segment was about Serena Williams, Serena's Adventures. Our All Hell No went to the California principal that called Black girls ghetto in Section 8. And we just gave it up to Simone Biles and Jonathan Owens for them tying the knot. So thank you for listening with us. And
thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us. And as always, in parting, what's up, Dr. A?
We wish you what?
And as always, in parting, we wish you love, peace, and soul.
And so, everyone, until next week, have a good one.